Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk about taking advantage of things about your Tascam. I've personally, there's a lot of things that I have not touched, and I think it's time that I investigate them more, and that we talk about them because they're in the system, and honestly, they will help you out for a lot of different reasons. So the first one I'm going to talk about is today we're talking about exporting. Exporting, I've touched on it before. I thought about this before, and I also got an email from somebody who said they asked about a question about exporting, which I'm going to get into after this one. So the first one is that you're limited to your tracks. Like a lot of people say, well, that's what we want. Well, that's great, but at the same time, sometimes I want to be able to go back to what I had before. That's where exporting comes in. So for instance, now as you guys know, I do a lot of like, I'll do direct lines for recordings, and then I will export. I will then use them, and I will reamp them so that I can play with the amp the way I want it to. And the reason I do that is because I sometimes find a better sound that I want. Like, it's just the way it is. Now the thing is that this can happen like later on down the line. I'm like, oh shit, you know what? I really don't like that guitar sound with the drum sound, with the bass sound, with everything else that's going on. I want a different sound. And that happens. And so this allows me to do what I need to do. But like I said, you're limited with tracks. So let's say you had to get rid of the direct line tracks, and you didn't, you thought, well, I'm happy with it, but now I'm not. So what I have done, let me show you on my screen here. I have made a directory. Now, granted, yes, I do everything through CD Baby. I've got a subscription. I'm linked in there, so I use it. I don't mind paying the one-time fee as opposed to $20 every month or every year, because honestly, in the end, it comes out cheaper. So what I've done is I put a track exports directory on here, and what I did was I exported. Let's pull this across so you can see the whole word. So here you have here. So if you're watching the other videos, you know that I did the bass with a pile mic, my pile condenser mic, and I did my sub frequency, my little box. So I have my direct here. So bass direct. Yeah, you got to rename them. You got to know what they are, so you rename them. Pile condenser and sub frequency mic. So that means I decide I want to remix anything here. It's right here. I re-import it onto the Tascam, and away I go. And then I have here guitar direct left, guitar direct right. So same thing. Let's say I don't like the way the amp sounds. Well, I can go right back here and I can pull them in. So that is, now it's something else. Here we go. So that is why I do this. So that way now I've cleared out those tracks on my 4-track, or on my 4-track, on my 32 track. I'm going to lower the screen down a bit so I can see it here. Let's see, because I forgot to do that before I started the video. Yes. So if you ever use the Hue camera, this one right here, yeah, you just have to lower the brightness. Now granted, I really can't see it. If I look directly at it here, I can't see it. Well, I can, but it's very faint. So now we go back out. So what I have done, let's see if I look at timeline. So I still have the tracks in here, but now they can be cleared for something else. If I decide I'm just going to leave I'm happy with the guitar tracks. This also is a good idea to do this if you're like, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're doing something like, oh, I'm, this way, if the SD card fails, I have a backup still. Now, granted, there's other ways of backing up. You can copy and paste it, like take the whole directory, paste it. I've talked about that before too. But right now we are talking about just doing exporting. Now the nice thing about exporting is it exports it. It gives you the entire length of the track from 0 to whatever, and it's all one line. It's not all cut and paste, even though you probably punched in and stuff. But that's another story. So as you can see, they're still all here. Not a big deal. Now what I did was, let me go back here. We'll go back to the regular. Right now, I'm going to show you, let's just do a line like that. I'm showing you track 2728, okay? This is for the other guy. So he was concerned because when you export it, it goes to 2 mono tracks. But this becomes an advantage for you. Now, let's say you are what you're doing is you don't want to constantly export your files out. So you're taking your tracks and you're consolidating them. So you have, let me show you here. So I'll go to the mixer. Track 2, as you can see, yeah, you can see that quite well. So panned all the way left. Track 3, panned all the way right. Now what I did was I bounced them. Now you can see they say they're infinite right now. I mean they're not even on. That's because I've already done it. And then track 2728, I have it up. So what I did was tracks 2 and 3 are the guitar direct left and direct right. That's what they are. So if I play it, let's go. So if I play it, you'll hear after it does all the other stuff. It should start in a second. It's doing the bass right now. There we go. So now if you listen, I'm going to pan it. So it's just the one guitar. It's not bleeding in the other one. Same over there. So I'll go back to the middle. There. All right. So what I did was I bounced the 2 and I've consolidated them onto one track. So that means that right now, track 2728, so this one right here, 2728, is just the guitars left and right. That's the rhythm guitars left and right. That's all they are. And the reason I did that was because that way they're only taking up one track as opposed to taking up 2. So instead of taking up 2 monos, they're taking up 1 stereo. But they are still mono. The nice thing about the Tascam, which I don't think a lot of people know, is when you look at the actual file directory, like in the system, it actually puts it actually saves them as, even though it's stereo, it saves them as 2 separate tracks. It still, all the way across, looks at it as all mono tracks, even though it acts as 1 track. So then what we'll do, so what you do is, now when I go to menu, we'll go up to Audio Depot, file not found because I'm going to export. And as you can see, so even on here, as you can see, because we're talking about 2728, there they are. They are 2 separate tracks. So I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to export them. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm going to speed it up now. So it is now completed. You can now see I got my 2 exported tracks, and what we're going to do, I just want to show you that they are separate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go menu, switch over to USB. Oops, I don't want to format. That would be bad. Back to menu, USB. So that's what happens when you can't really see what you're looking at. Yes, there we go. Alright, so it has now popped them up. I'm going to pull this out of my viewing area. So let's go over to, now as you can see I have Audacity open, and we're going to open, I'm going to go to this PC. K is my thing. Like I said, this is why I keep it the way I do. So as you can see, there's track 2728 right there. So we will open both. And it opened them as 2 separate. Oh, look at that. So, all right, that's fine. So what I'm going to do, I will play. So we'll play track 27 first. I'll just move it over so you can hear it. Okay, so you can... All right, so you can hear it. And then if I go over to 27, 28, same thing. So it has separated them, and it has done it in such a way that I don't have to worry about it. It's now separated. Now, like I said, it's a pain in the butt if you have a stereo track of keyboards and you just want the one. You want it to come over as a stereo track. But you know what? It's a small thing to pay for that you just have to bring it in here. I think I will have to look into it, but I think you can actually merge 2 tracks and make them a stereo track if you want. But I don't really care. But because this is what I use it for, and I don't generally use a DAW, and so that's one of the reasons why I don't use a DAW, is because I like this thing too much. So that's my video today. I hope you like it. I got a frog in my throat again, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Down on me, I see myself